Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
A sweet lady from my former Sunday school class had been going through a trial. We had prayed for her and her family. Finally, one morning, she announced a breakthrough, a light at the end of the tunnel. She said, "For so long, all I saw was a brick wall. But where we see a brick wall, God sees a curtain that He can open at any time." I've pondered on that statement for a long while. Then I saw a YouTube video of a guy testing his car's automatic braking system. He spread a curtain across the road that looked like a brick wall. Would the car know that it was a curtain and run right through it? Or would it think it was a brick wall and screech to a halt? Satan's really good at tricking us into thinking that obstacles in our lives are brick walls, and he laughs when we stop at them and fret. But when we march right up to them in faith, God pulls that curtain aside and gives us light for the rest of His path. And I got to thinking of how many times He did that in the Bible. Abraham's wall was his wife's barrenness. But in God's timing, when they were too old to have children, Abraham and Sarah had their child of promise, Isaac. Several couples in the Bible had that curtain open up when they least expected it. Joseph's wall was slavery and then imprisonment, but that curtain opened up to reveal Joseph as second in command of Egypt, ready with a plan to save the Egyptians and the surrounding nations from famine. Still in Egypt, several centuries later, God's people found themselves as slaves to an oppressive ruler. They cried out to God. He sent Moses and the 10 plagues to rescue His people. Even when they'd seen God open that curtain, when they got to the Red Sea with the Egyptians hot on their heels, all they saw was water that they were unable to cross. But again, that obstacle literally became a curtain that God parted for them to cross over to the other side in safety. Over and over in the wilderness, God changed walls into curtains for them, providing food, water, and victory over their enemies. Talk about walls. When they got to Jericho, God made the walls crumble at the shout of faith. In the book of Ruth, Naomi only saw a wall. She even renamed herself Mara, meaning bitter. But through the faith of her daughter-in-law, Ruth, by the end of the book, everyone was rejoicing in God's goodness, and Ruth got to be in the genealogy of the Messiah. David encountered all sorts of walls to become king, but God opened them as a curtain and exalted him to lead the nation. Like I said, the Bible has so many stories of walls and curtains, but one of my favorites is from 2 Chronicles 20. Several kings and their armies show up to fight against King Jehoshaphat. The king was afraid, so the first thing he did was seek God, proclaim a fast, and pray. He ended his prayer with, "We have no power against this great multitude, nor do we know what to do, but our eyes are upon you." God assured him that he did not need to fear. He wouldn't even have to fight, just stand and watch God do His thing. With that in mind, instead of sending his best soldiers out to attack, he sent the choir out in front to praise. They watched as their enemies began fighting each other. Then the Israelite army ended up just collecting all the plunder, which took them 3 days. So when we see a wall, what should we do? Stop and pray. Focus on God, not the obstacle. Trust and go ahead and praise God. Then, in His timing, watch that curtain open.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.